What's new, crew? If you're new, my name's Cassandra. I got a little bit of a jump start. We'll talk about that in a second. But this morning I have some goals. My goal is to go through some of our Wolf River apples that we bought. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that. I've had them sitting up here for a couple of days. We need to get through at least some of those today, which is what's happening behind me here. We are going to be canning whole apples, which is what we use as apple pie filling. We just put those in a light syrup. Really great. The other thing that I'm doing is taking all of our apple scraps, putting them in the steam juicer to get some apple juice. I might leave it as apple juice, but what I really want to do is make some apple jelly, which I haven't done before. So depending on how much apple juice I get, I might can just one thing of apple juice and make the other stuff into apple jelly. I don't know yet. The other thing I have to do today is my oldest daughter's birthday. She's turning 10. I got some boxed brownie mix just as a really easy gift to myself because I knew I was going to be really busy this week with kitchen projects, and she does not care that it comes from a box. She loves brownies, so this is what we're going to do for her instead of like a birthday cake for tonight. And then we always do takeout, so I don't have to worry about dinner tonight, which is really nice. I think she ended up picking Chinese, which is what my other daughter picked. Her birthday was last weekend and she picked Chinese, so it looks like we're doing 2 weekends of Chinese because that's what they picked. So we are going to jump in. I already got these apples going. Joe actually didn't have to be to work this morning right away, so he peeled all of these apples for me while I did chicken chores and took care of the babies, got them ready for the day and stuff. So he did all the prep work for me. He carried everything up, washed everything for me, and peeled all of the apples, which was fantastic. So we're gonna rewind to this morning and go back to me packing jars, and then we'll come back to the present and make some brownies. I am deciding to do a couple pints, mostly because I have pint jars up here right now, so it's really convenient for me. But also maybe if we wanna do like a smaller apple crisp or something, we can use these. I'm finding that variety is really nice to have when you're canning your own things. So a lot of the times if I have the opportunity to do a couple pints or a couple quarts of something that normally I wouldn't, I try to. Just because you never know. Sometimes I'll find a recipe on Pinterest or something that only calls for a small amount of apples, and then I don't have to open up a whole quart for it and then try to figure out what I'm doing with the other quart. Or maybe we're doing like pork chops and apples in the crock pot or something. I don't want a whole quart for that. I'm just gonna want a pint. So this will give us a couple options for some other meals. Okay, so we're gonna load these in. While I do have 2 water bath canners, I'm just gonna have 1 canner up today. I could put the other water bath canner outside on like my propane stove, but I don't really have much else going on today other than making some brownies. It's my daughter's birthday, so I'm gonna make her some brownies for her instead of like a birthday cake. So I have to be in the kitchen anyways doing that, and then actually giving my kitchen a clean. So if I'm gonna be in here anyways, there's no reason to rush through it today, so I'm just gonna keep the 1 canner out and we'll just do 2 loads. And like I said, these don't take very long to process, so it's not like I'm gonna be in here for forever anyways, so I'm happy with that. Might actually have to take some water out of that canner. Yes, I'm definitely gonna have to take some water out of that canner. We are right up at the point there, so I'm gonna take some water out of here just so we don't overflow. Okay, so for these brownies, I have 2 boxes here. I'm gonna make both the boxes. Okay, so I'm gonna get some duck eggs because duck eggs are so much better in baked goods. And while I'm in the kitchen anyways, we're gonna get this in the oven. I have a couple other things I need to take care of today around the house, so I'm trying to get all of my kitchen chores done while my baby naps. My toddler is happily playing in front of me here, and just kind of get in and out so that I can get to all the other things I'm hoping to accomplish today, which is just the reality sometimes. So what I'm going to do, actually, I still have 20 pounds of Wolf Rivers here. This is gonna go down in the basement. We kind of use that as a root cellar. these apples will hold for at least a couple of weeks down there. The kids will most likely eat these fresh. They're so good. They smell delicious. I might come back and do one more small batch of kind of diced apples to can, but for right now I think I'm gonna just leave these whole, let the kids enjoy them, and that's probably what we'll do with the rest of these. I don't know. Stay tuned, because we'll probably do something with these eventually, probably. Insane amount of eggs in the chicken coop. The last 2 days I've gone down there, I keep forgetting egg baskets. So at some point today I really need to go down there with a basket and collect all of those eggs, because my chickens keep trying to sit on my duck eggs, and I don't want to have a bunch of baby ducks hatching out right before winter. That will not be good. So I've been saving all of my eggshells and just dumping them on the garden. So I have a bucket over here for eggshells. I'm gonna go dump these in. Olive oil here, and then put a little water in here, mix our brownie mix up in this, whisk it, give her a good mix, and get it in the oven. And I'll catch back up with you guys when the brownies are coming out of the oven. And we're probably rotating our apple slices here, checking our steam juicer. So I'll catch back up with you guys in a minute. Okay, so how this steam juicer works, if you're interested, is you fill this bottom portion with just tap water. This is where all of the juice will collect, whatever you put in the top here. This layer here is actually just a strainer. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's just a strainer. And then the top comes off, and you put whatever fruit you want to juice in this strainer. So then as you turn the stove on and it starts to steam this water here, it will collect all of the juice from whatever you're juicing right in here. And then it has this little nozzle here with a clamp on it. So even if this were to fall, I'm not going to have any juice that's going to spill from it. So what we're going to do is, I just like to take, this is like a little liner for a soup bowl or something, and I'll take my jar like this, and then you just kind of open the clamp and put this down, and any juice that is in the collection part of this will just start to come out into your jar. But then you can just clamp it back off, and you can see the juice that it comes out. So there's how we collect that. Pulled out our first batch of sliced apples, got the second batch in. Our brownies are also done, so I pulled those out. We're just gonna let those cool. I'll wrap them in a little bit. But I prefer this steam juicer to use the juice that comes out of it, a lot more of a concentrate. I think it tastes better that way. I'm not an expert on this. I've only used it a handful of times, but I think it works best if you add a little bit of water to this, add a little bit of sugar if you want, and use it that way. We also use this in popsicles sometimes for the summer, but it works really, really well. So I double checked the recipe that I want to do out of my fall canning cookbook, and I really only need like this jar full of apple juice to be able to make one batch of apple jelly. I just want to do it in like maybe even just 4-ounce mason jars to be able to hand out as Christmas gifts. So I really don't need a lot. That being said, I'm done with my juicer. It could go a little bit longer, but to be quite honest, I just kind of want to be in and out of the kitchen today. I don't know if you got that vibe, but I just really want to get in and out. So because everything else is done, my canner is almost done. I'm going to be able to shut that off, and I want to get everything pulled away and put away, the kitchen cleaned up before the kids get home, because it is my daughter's birthday. I want to have everything squared away. That way we can just hang out with her and kind of do what she wants to do tonight and have to be a little bit more relaxed. So I am going to turn my steam juicer off, and I'm just going to let this drip for a while into my strainer. And then once everything has cooled off, I'm actually just going to take it and pour it right into my jar and put a top on this. I'll put it in the fridge, and in the next day or two I will come back in the kitchen when I have a little bit more time to make my apple jelly. That's kind of my plan for the rest of this. So for now I'm done. Everything is kind of shut off. We ended up getting a ton of jars of are sliced apples, which is perfect. I'm happy with what I have here. I wouldn't be surprised if I do another batch of sliced apples, but I also wouldn't be surprised if I didn't. So we'll kind of see what happens, but I have a handful of other canning projects I need to do over the couple of days. Some of them at my house, some of them I'm going down to my in-laws so that we can can kraut. I think we have like 30 gallons of kraut that needs to be canned over the next couple of days. So lots of big projects going down. I have lots of venison in my freezer that I want to can up with venison beef stew. I know I've been talking about that a lot recently, but I want to do that while I have fresh celery in my fridge. If I don't get to it in the next day or two, it's not that big of a deal. I can always go down to my mother-in-law and she'll give me more celery. Hers like keeps coming up and coming back, which is great. So we have options. We'll see how on top of things I am, but I'm hoping that tonight I can pull at least one bag of venison out of my freezer. That way I can slice it up into tips and kind of at least start loading things in my canner. And at the point of the season where I want to finish off some of these bigger projects. Apples was one, the venison is the other. That way I can give my kitchen a really good deep cleaning. It is desperately needing one. I want to pull everything out of my cabinets, scrub out the inside of the cabinets, do a little bit of a declutter and all of those things. I usually do that at the end of summer, but I decided this year to wait until the weather started to change. It got really cold or maybe a rainy day or something. That way when we're trapped inside most of the winter, it gives me a little bit of a bigger project to do and all the things. So I'm just trying to plan a little bit better this year, and that's kind of been why I haven't given my kitchen a real good deep clean the last couple of weeks. But with all these canning projects and preserving projects all summer, it desperately needs one. So I'm kind of in a rush now to finish off these last bit of projects so that I can do that, just because I don't want to give my kitchen a really good deep clean and then be processing a deer on my counter or anything like that. So that being said, this weekend is a youth hunt. Hopefully one of our kids will be successful in that. We'll get a deer. We'll be able to process that out, and by the end of next week I'm hoping to have all my big canning projects done so that I can get in and do a really good deep clean of my kitchen. That is kind of my goals and my mental plan for the next 2 weeks or so. So we'll see how that ends up going, but I'm going to finish this stuff off here today. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. A little bit of a quick one, just doing a couple apple projects today. How fun. And we'll finish this off on another day probably together while we're doing some Christmas gift prepping. So wherever you guys are, I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in another one. Bye.